Legal Wednesday. Jeremy, of course, attorney at law. I want to talk about Amazon and that now it's been ruled that they have to face a U.S. class action lawsuit over Alexa users' privacy. Federal judge made the decision this week, Monday, in Seattle, and said that millions of users of Amazon's cloud-based voice service, Alexa, can actually band together in a class action suit against Amazon for deceptively recording and collecting their private conversations, and that they're going to be able to sue for this. I'm curious, what evidence and what is the evidence that they've been collecting their private conversations?
I don't think we exactly know. What I can tell you is that the lawsuit was originally filed in 2021. So this lawsuit has been around now for 4 years, and in that time, my spidey sense, my lawyer guess, is that they've been doing discovery, exchanging information back and forth, and that probably a good deal of it is subject to what's called a protective order, meaning that Amazon doesn't want all their secrets out there in public pleadings and public documents. And the judge and the plaintiffs have agreed, okay, we need to see kind of under the hood here, but we're not going to show anybody else. So I suspect that that's kind of what's going on as far as what evidence we have that it's essentially listening to you when you don't think it is, or when the user agreement says that it's not supposed to be. That's sort of the crux of the case, but that's my guess is that the answer is in those last 4 years.
Well, Alexa, they have that mute button as well on their device where you can actually mute it.
So they say.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, is there proof where the device is still listening to you when that button is enabled?
I don't know about that. A lot of the technology stuff has been really close to the vest in this case, and of course, Amazon's always going to come back and say, "Listen, we only use our technology for good. We don't abuse it." And look, if we say it in our terms and conditions, and you click those 18 things when you download the app, then you can trust us, right? But in America, we trust and we verify, right? I think I think that's ultimately what this class action is about, and I think that the plaintiffs probably get a decent window into the inner workings of this. Although, again, you're always going to run into those proprietary information walls in a case, and judges are going to uphold those. Judges are going to respect that and say, listen, just because you got sued doesn't mean that you have to file all your public secrets, in public for everybody to see. So that's. I don't know that we'll get some specific answers here, but we know that we see the factory smoking.
All right. So at one point or another, somebody had to suspect that, oh, Alexa here is, I'm having a private conversation with my hubby over finances or whatever, and Alexa knows about this. And this data is being collected. I mean, what was the genesis of this lawsuit that made someone suspect that Amazon was listening in on private conversations, collecting it, keeping it, and doing whatever nefarious thing that they think that Alexa and Amazon is doing?
Right. So let me give you sort of a 40,000-foot view of sort of your civil justice system, if you will. What happens, I think, is that nobody likes lawsuits. I mean, you talk to people, and just nobody's a big fan of lawsuits, right? You also talk about nobody's a fan of big government. So what do we do, right? If we want to make a rule that says, Amazon, you can't listen to all of you can't make a device and have everybody waive every right and listen to everybody's personal conversations. We can't have that. Well, how do we enforce that, right? How do we do that? Well, what we do is we create these class action lawsuits, and it's a plaintiff lawyer somewhere who is reading these daily journals, and he says, and he goes, "Huh, look at this. Okay, I knew this thing was listening to me, and now," and then they do some legal research, and maybe they have a buddy who, yeah, I want to go ahead and bring a lawsuit here, and that's sort of how that's sort of how the genesis goes, and that's sort of how these things build steam, because the law recognizes that I'm never going to get angry enough to go and spend $300 to go down to the federal courthouse to get my head kicked in by Amazon's lawyers, right? Not over the fact that it overheard my opinion of the Oregon Ducks Ohio State game, right? There's no damages there for me. So what the law says is that when we aggregate all of these paper cut offenses and we get 10 or 20 or 30 million plaintiffs, all of whom are going to get a payday of $24 at the end of this, that's real money for Amazon, and that's real punishment for them. And that's how lawsuits, in some instances, can keep taxes low and enforce public policy. So that's really what you're seeing in action here.
Okay, and I get that. But to bring a suit, to have some sort of prima facie case, you still have to be able to say there has to be a genesis where somebody goes, hey, Alexa has been listening to my conversations, and I know it. I know this. So,
and you need evidence, yes.
And
yes.
Who was the individual? I mean, we don't need to know their name, but they had to be able to say that this actually happened to me. You can't just out of the blue go, I have an Alexa. It has a microphone. It's listening to me. I know it is. And just go down and hire a lawyer and say, I know this is listening to me. Well, how do you know that? Because I say so.
Right.
So, again, I go back to what was the genesis where somebody said, I know this damn thing is listening to me, and I know that they're keeping it.
You cannot sue somebody on a hunch. But the law also recognizes that you're not going to have all the answers either at the moment that you file the lawsuit. So you have to have a good faith basis based in evidence to file the lawsuit. And you can, in certain instances, rely on some inferences, right? And I'm this is guesswork here. Speaking of inferences, this is guesswork. If you were to have a lawsuit that said, we know that they're listening to us and you have 10 affidavits of people who say, I was talking about a specific product, and sure enough, that product showed up on my feed within 3 minutes. And it's never shown up on my feed before. So things like that, and there's a concept, and it's in tort law, not so much class action law. It's called res ipsa loquitur. You're going to make me throw out some Latin today. And res ipsa loquitur means the thing speaks for itself. In other words, you don't get just the fact that there's a shopping cart in the middle of the highway shows you somebody screwed up somewhere, right? And can you sue the company that the cart belongs to? I don't know, but the point is that it kind of gives you a leg up on some of the negligence things. So you can't sue based on a hunch. You got to have something, but it doesn't have to be fully developed.
All right, Jeremy, we got to go. Always love chatting with you. You have a great rest of your day.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a great morning.
You too.